could dance, but I think like all people, I always wanted to. When I was a teenager, when Elvis Presley first came on the scene, you know how everybody just was freaking out over Elvis. He was the sexiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Of course, we didn't have a television when Elvis came out, but there was an old lady who lived down the road a good ways from us. And me and a bunch of my sisters, some of my girlfriends, sneaked off from home. We knew we was going to get in trouble because they didn't want us to see all this sexy stuff, and they didn't want us slipping off from home. But I remember, I don't know when you folks first saw Elvis on television, but there was a show called The Ed Sullivan Show back home, and he was the first one that had the Beatles on, and he had all the famous groups that would, you know, come out, and he kind of really set a lot of trends in television there. But on this particular occasion, when Elvis was just the hottest thing going, they wouldn't let him show him from the waist down because all, you know, the Elvis, the pelvis stuff, you know. So they shot him from the waist up. But they thought that kept us from seeing it in our minds, not us girls. I saw that night after night after night. I knew exactly what he was doing. But anyway, so after I saw him once, all those homely, hairy-legged boys back home just never held that much fascination to me after that. So, so I went back home, and I'd get up on the hill above the barnyard, and I'd pretend like I was Elvis. I'd thought about Elvis had he been a woman, especially one like me. If I'd have been on television, they'd have shot me from the neck up back then, right? Well, anyhow, this is sort of how I used to entertain them chickens and hogs and stuff, and this is sort of how I looked. God knows I ain't no Elvis. There never will be another one, but I just thought this might be fun, and he might be watching us. He might get a kick out of it. So this is how I pictured Elvis back then, if he'd have been a girl. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Don't jar me now. I got a little number I'd like to do for you tonight, but before I do, I want to make sure I got a few things working. Make sure I got all listening gear. Okay. Make sure oh, good grief, if we get these to roll, we're going to be here a week. Yes, that's okay. Above all else, I think I need to see if I can get my lip working. You folks on the balcony and in the back, you can't see this. Come back to my dressing room after the show. I'll do it for you up close. Okay, boys. I think I'm ready. Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a buck. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Hey, hey, hey. Well, my hands are shaking.